So this is on, which day is this? Day 14. Okay, yeah. The free response question number 9 is a really good review for your test because it's kind of got lots of old questions in it. Okay, so first we're supposed to find the value of negative 2 times f of negative 5. So if I look at this graph, negative 5 is this point right here. So f of negative 5 is negative 4. Minus g of f of 2. So again, back up here, f of 2 is right here, which is a 0. So that's g of 0. Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. Minus g of 0, that we're going to have to get from the table. G of 0 is negative 3. So your answer is 11. I'm going to go down and show you. So notice there's how I would grade it basically, although you could get partial credit in here. Notice the answer was 11, and then all the in-between steps here gave you another point. So that was worth 2 points. All free response questions are worth a total of 9. B, is g of x an even function, an odd function, or neither even or odd? Give a numerical reason for your answer. All right. Oops. Oh, that's not at all what I meant to do. I meant to erase. There we go. So we're talking about g of x. So we have the point negative 4, 2, and then we have the point 4, 2. So that means so far that if I take the opposite of an x, it's going to give me the exact same value. What is that a definition of? Even. That's even. Okay, let's see if the other ones work. If I plug in negative 2, I get negative 1. So if I plug in positive 2, I also get negative 1. So that works. Now 0 is the tricky one. So if I plug in 0, I get negative 3. And if I plug in negative 0, which is still 0, I still get the same thing. So yes, it's even. So now I got to figure out how to show that. So g of x is an even function because f of negative 4 equals 2 and f of positive 4 equals 2. F of negative 2 equals negative 1, and f of 2 equals negative 1, and f of 0 equals 3. That actually should be enough, but you could also say f of negative x equals f of x. Let's see what it says. There, yeah, it's what we did. G of x is an even function, it's worth a point, and then you get a point for your reasoning. C, if p of x equals that, for what values of a is p of negative 2 equal to f of g of negative 2? Show your work. Okay, so let's start here. So f of g of negative 2. So I go up here. G of negative 2 is negative 1. So that's f of negative 1. And if I look at my graph, f of -1 is over here at 2. So I want to find the value of a so that p of -2 is equal to 2, because that's what f of g of -2 is. So let's find p of -2. So it's a times -2 squared minus 3 times -2 plus 10. So that's 4a plus 6 plus 10. So 4a plus 16. I want to show my value or values of a to where that, which is this right here, is equal to 2. 4a plus 16 equals 2. Subtract 16, you get 4a equals -14. And is -14 over 4, which is -7 over 2. On a free response question, you would not be counted off if you did not reduce. So if you're not sure if you're going to reduce it right, don't. Let's look at that. So you get 1 point for finding that p of -2 was 4a plus 16. You get another point for finding f of g of -2, we got 2. And then you get another point for actually finding a, which is -7 over 2. And then part D, identify the intervals along the x-axis for which f of x is less than 0. Give your answer. All right. So we look up here. Here's f of x. It's less than 0 here and here. We have to be careful about setting up those intervals. It starts at this point, which is -5, and it goes to, it looks like -3.5. But it's not going to include -3.5 because it's simply less than 0, not less than or equal to. And I think it does include this other one, but let me make sure. Yeah, that's filled in dot. So -5 to -3.5. And then the other one goes from 2, but it doesn't include 2 because 2 is actually at 0. And then to 5, but it doesn't include 5 because 5 is an open circle. So then from 2 to 5. And because f of x is below the x-axis, on those intervals. Really glad you asked that question. It's an excellent review problem because it kind of does a little bit of everything. So looking, oh yes, ma'am. Yes, just make sure you sign out and take the pass. Okay, so we have, notice, -5 to -3.5 and then 2 to 5. That was worth a point. And then we had to say y, and that was when f of x was below the x-axis. If we added all those up, you get a total of 9 points. It'll be the same way the free responses are graded in your tests tomorrow and Thursday as well. What else?